In this presentation, the student will focus on proposing the creation of the International Cultural Inclusion course. It is a college course that will help international and non-international students understand the concept of culture shock. The course I am proposing would focus on the following topics: difficulties regarding language barriers, socialization, culture shock, and then providing skills to cope with fear or anxiety. It is important to note that there are approximately 907,339 international students currently enrolled at American colleges and universities, according to Erin Duffin. Psychologists Dr. Hamboyan and Dr. Bryan conducted a study at Columbia University in New York in 1995 that brought concern to the field of mental health. Approximately 75% of the international students at the school reported experiencing severe depression, with 25% developing some form of suicidal ideation. Through this knowledge, the course proposal would bring awareness to international students experiencing culture shock or mental health difficulties. Before I go on, however, I would like to provide a brief definition of culture shock. It is a temporary psychological condition when people suffer about new surroundings and different cultures other than where they live or used to live. According to Seiko Takesue, 85% of international students have had culture shock within the United States. It is important to create an environment that focuses on inclusion, collective understanding, and mutual respect. The target audience of this project would be professors helping international students with culture shock. By implementing course material that provides statistical evidence, group discussion to culture shock, and the psychological effects of isolation and discrimination, international and non-international students can come to understand the importance of inclusive environments, specifically environments that foster togetherness, unity, and cultural understanding. One of the goals of this course would be to provide a safe space for international students to discuss their own experiences regarding culture shock and hardships with socialization. Furthermore, the course would also provide a holistic approach to psychology. Students of all kinds should be able to learn how to integrate and express their unique abilities and cultural identity. In addition, language barriers can be a detrimental factor to socialization. English second language programs help international students learn the English language. In fact, according to the National Center for Education Statistics, there are approximately 5.0 million students currently enrolled in an American ESL program. This exemplifies the amount of diversity within the United States, and therefore, it is important to bring awareness to those students struggling with speaking English. The course would also provide insight on Hee-Sun Yoon's 3 types of thinking. Those are dichotomous thinking, hierarchical thinking, and holistic thinking. According to Hee-Sun Yoon, dichotomous thinking is conceptualizing within an either-or mindset, which leads to only 2 extremes. One is either good or bad, and either right or wrong. Most individuals do not want to be on the negative side, also known as the bad side or the wrong side, so they put themselves on the positive side, leaving little opportunity for self-reflection and objective intrapersonal communication. Furthermore, when individuals put others or themselves into a superior or an inferior position, they are using hierarchical thinking. Inappropriate hierarchical thinking can result in consciously or unconsciously categorizing individuals based on their ability, disability, race, sex, language, culture, sexual orientation, gender, ethnicity, and much more. From a multicultural perspective, individuals who have adopted hierarchical thinking may develop certain limiting and maladaptive belief systems about themselves or the world. For instance, an international student may think, "They can speak English, I can't, therefore I am worthless. I do not know much about American history as I grew up in another country. I am beneath everyone else. I'm different. I have an accent and my clothing style is not the same as everyone else's. I also think differently. Something must be wrong with me." Those are all examples of hierarchical thinking that, when internalized, can potentially be self-defeating and limiting. In order to eliminate dichotomous and hierarchical thinking, the International Inclusion course would focus on not enforcing holistic thinking, but also provide therapeutic methods and exercises that empower the international and non-international student. Before I go on, I would like to give a brief definition for holistic thinking. According to Hee-Sun Yoon, holistic thinking is based on a multi-layered and multidimensional perspective. Individuals with this thinking style are able to give equal weight to their opinions as well as those of others. Individuals are able to think in terms of either or. The following therapeutic approaches for the International Inclusion course would be utilized. There would be Jungian therapy, humanistic therapy by Abraham Maslow, Carl Rogers, and Alfred Adler. I will provide further details on those. The Jungian therapy approach would consist of uncovering unconscious material, like internalized fears, hierarchical and dichotomous thinking styles. For instance, practitioners in the classroom can use active imagination and association tests to understand these unconscious fears. Furthermore, humanistic approaches would focus on developing the self-esteem of international and non-international students, particularly those experiencing culture shock or those wanting to understand culture shock. Maintaining a positive mindset would be crucial. Abraham Maslow in 1943 proposed that every individual has an innate need to feel safe, maintain love and belongingness, establish a high self-esteem, and reach self-actualization. He contributed much to the positive psychology movement, such as the therapeutic method Gestalt therapy. Practitioners in the course would use Gestalt techniques to help students become aware of their thoughts, beliefs, and ideas with the emphasis of reaching well-being. Carl Rogers proposed that every individual has the innate and natural need to move towards self-completion and self-improvement. This attitude should be adopted in the International Inclusion course, and practitioners should realize the potential of their students. This was the same for Rogers in 1945, where he treated his clients with unconditional positive regard and trusted that they would reach their highest potential despite facing difficulties. Third, Alfred Adler proposed the idea that individuals with a low self-esteem develop a sense of inferiority among their peers and society as a whole. In order to treat low self-esteem, Adler established various perspectives in a psychodynamic approach to psychology. For instance, in order to overcome maladaptive thinking and feelings of inferiority, practitioners use an egalitarian and holistic view to therapy. Adler used cognitive behavioral therapy to change the negative self-concepts that the clients held within their mind. Forms of CBD can also be used in the course as a means to emphasize the student's strengths, character, esteem, and courage. International students experience difficulties with language barriers, culture shock, and socialization. By implementing these therapeutic methods into the International Inclusion course, more students experience inclusion and safety. Professors would create an inclusive environment through mutual understanding of the hardship associated with culture shock. To end this presentation, I will leave you now with a quote by American civil rights activist Dr. Maya Angelou. "We all should know that diversity makes for a rich tapestry, and we must understand that all the threads of the tapestry are equal in value, no matter what their color or cultural origin." Thank you for watching.